West Indies have already tied a game in this particular series, but will they be able to tie the series itself? For that, they'll have to win the 5th and the final ODI, but looking at the way they performed in Mumbai seems very, very tough. It's going to be an uphill task for the West Indies team. Now, this is the 5th ODI we're looking ahead to. It's in Thiruvananthapuram. It's the first ODI to be played on this particular venue. Of course, you had a T20 that was played here versus New Zealand. Joining me, Ajit Agarkar, Phil Simmons. You're watching ESPN Cricinfo Matchday. Ajit, to you first. It's a win-win situation for both captains. Both got what they wanted.
Yeah, strange one actually, because you generally find captains agreeing what they want to do after the toss. But there seems to be, everyone says there's a lot of dew around, so you would have thought that chasing is a better option. Plus West Indies have played extra seamer. So yeah, a little bit surprising for me. But after that defeat in Mumbai, it kind of played, I think, into that decision that rather bat first when there's no scoreboard pressure, and then maybe put India under pressure. The only time that West Indies have beaten them is when India were chasing. So that's probably played into that decision. I'm not sure whether it's a good one.
Phil, do you think that was the factor that's eventually, Holder deciding to bat first in this particular round? Considering, we heard the pitch report a short while ago and they said there's going to be a massive dew factor in this particular game, yet he's gone and decided to bat first. Has it got something to do with the previous matches? India under pressure while chasing, and the game, as Ajit mentions, that India won was also the time that West Indies had batted first.
Yeah, but when you look at it, India have been stronger chasing. India, especially with Virat with the top three, their chasing record has been great. So I don't understand the from the both sides, because there's going to be dew later. So why would you want to put your bowlers under that, especially as you have brought in Bishu? There's no Ashley Nurse. And secondly, India, barring that one game, they've chased well in the last year and a half at least.
Maybe Holder knows there's not going to be any dew tonight. So.
How would he know that?
Yeah, very strange one. You include a couple of bowlers and a wrist spinner, like Phil said, and a seamer as well, and then you kind of decide to bat first. It's got to be the Mumbai game. You don't want to again be chasing 370. But that's not the right way to go about it.
Right, Mumbai as well as Pune. I mean, there was another game that West Indies eventually did really, really well in that game and winning the only game that they did in Pune. Let's quickly take a look at the West Indies team, because there are two changes there and no changes for the Indian team. And what are those two changes? As we mentioned, Nurse is out, and then you also have the opener in Hemraj also out. They've gone with an extra bowler in O'Shane Thompson coming in, and also Devendra Bishu makes a return to the Windies team. Phil, coming to you, Bishu coming back, what do you make of that change?
Well, it's an enforced change, I think, because Ashley Nurse is injured and out of the tour. So it's an enforced change because they need that second spinner. But you still have Marlon Samuels, who hasn't bowled much and can bowl his 10 overs. But I am a little bit taken aback by the fact that you have 4 seamers and 2 spinners, and you still have Marlon in the team who can bowl. So you've been batting well with your combination. Now you've changed, and Shea Hope has gone up to open. I don't know. I'm not one for changing things too much.
All right, interesting there. Do you think again the Mumbai game has a lot to do with it, bringing in that extra bowler that Windies have?
Yeah, looks like it again. But you want to see where you're playing on a particular day. You don't want to decide your team because of what's happened in the previous game. I mean, India played really well on the night. West Indies weren't that good. Doesn't take away from the fact that they've played well through the series. So yeah, you don't want to be reactive because of a result. Yeah, I mean, you still want to make the right changes, but you want 2 specialist opener. I mean, okay, Hope's played really well and was run out in the previous game. And 3 is sometimes as good as opening the innings, but it's still a little bit different. So, and the only good part about it is Holder will have to bat a bit higher. I don't know whether Kimo Paul will bat ahead of him, but hopefully he doesn't, because he's playing as well as anyone in the team.
Interesting thought that, Phil, it's a blessing in disguise. You at least get to see Holder batting in at a little higher up in the order. He's been one of the best batsmen that the Windies have had.
Yeah, but in saying that, at least Hemraj at the top in the 4 games we've seen has looked like he's looked more the part than Rothman Powell. So if you're going to do that, that change might have been the one that I would be looking at. But it's good that he's going to be batting one higher at least, hopefully. But we'll see what he does and see how he fares up there. So it could be interesting that he's gone higher.
The other bit is this is probably the first track that you'll have which will be assisting the spinners. You know, Mumbai and Pune weren't quite those tracks here, and yet I mean they're hampered by the fact that Nurse is injured. He would have played otherwise on a track.
Yeah,
like
I mean that's I wouldn't say a big blow, but that's definitely a blow. I don't think Bishu's done that well in this series, and Nurse, you know, looked like bowling in difficult situations all the time. His batting was really good. You know, that the game that they won, he was probably the difference, or his batting was the difference. So yeah, that is definitely a blow. I don't know about the pitch. We'll have to wait and see if it does assist the spin. Bowling second, with all the talk that's been going around, with the amount of dew that everyone's saying that there's likely to be, spinners may not play that big a part second. So West Indies do have a few seam options. We'll have to wait and see if it does spin when India bowl first.
Talking about the changes and because of the way the pitch is going to behave, India were expected probably Chahal comes back. But what do you make? No changes for the Indian team.
Yeah, you don't expect them to after they played as well as they did on the night. You know, the one thing that's not disappointing, that's maybe West Indies have forced India to do is not make too many changes. I mean, this is the time to try out your bench guys.
Right.
There's a Manish Pandey, there's a KL Rahul who's just sat throughout this 5-match series who haven't had a go. So sometimes you wonder whether, you know, winning the series, of course it's important, but winning the series takes precedence over actually knowing who your best 15 are going to that World Cup. And maybe India have missed a trick a little bit. And you've got to give credit to the West Indies. They put that pressure on India, where they've been forced not to make too many changes. But there are 2 or 3 guys who are just sitting on the bench throughout the series. Yeah, sometimes that gets a little bit lost in trying to win the series.
Okay, interesting thought. Phil, what do you think? You know, as we were talking about the effects that the Indian performance have had on the West Indies team, there's a role reversal there where you think that the Indian team not experimenting much, because again, this could be a crucial game in context of the entire series.
Yeah, I'm on Ajit's side with that whole thing. I understand you wanted to win the series, but again, unless you have 10 more one-days before, let's say, the IPL, then you have to give Rahul and Manish and people like that a game or 2 to see where they're at, and to make sure that they have the confidence of you as the management to go out there and play the way the team wants to play. So I'm a little bit surprised at that too.
Yeah, I mean, once you include somebody in the 15, you think they're good enough to play and win you the game. Maybe that's not the thought. This is the best 11 that Virat thinks there is. Yeah, like I said, it's you know, it's probably taken a back seat, the World Cup suddenly in trying to win the series, which shouldn't have been the case.
I'm, you know, just to play the devil's advocate, if West Indies go on to tie this particular series, I mean, hell's going to break loose in India. You know, written about.
But you still haven't tried the guys on the bench. I mean, Rishabh Pant's had 2 games and he's gone out. Manish Pandey, like I said, Manish Pandey and KL Rahul haven't had a game. They're just sitting there. There's a Ranji Trophy game going on today. So you wonder sometimes, you know, you don't want to leave it too late to decide who your 15 are for the World Cup.
Okay, as we were talking about the Indian 11, it's exactly the same that we saw in the last game, the game that was played in Mumbai at the Brabant Stadium. So Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan to start with, and look at that bowling lineup that you've got. 3 fast bowlers in Khalil, and you've got Jasprit Bumrah and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, and then the 2 spinners in Ravindra Jadeja and Kuldeep Yadav. Of course, then you have Kedar Jadhav doubling up as the 6th bowler. The only thing that the India would be looking at, as you're talking about experimenting, would be Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, the only one who's looked kind of rusty.
Yeah, but he needs cricket. I think maybe he's, you know, coming back from the back injury after England. He needs a bit of cricket. He needs bowling. He is looking a little bit rusty. Maybe just trying to protect his back a little bit at times. Not that you need to bowl million miles in India anyway. But the more cricket he has, the better he'll get. So no, he needs cricket. So I'm glad he's got through this series without, or so far,
Yeah.
without any injuries, because he's a key guy going forward.
All right, talking about the Indian fast bowling attack, this was Bharat Arun, the bowling coach of the Indian team. He's rather happy with the crop of fast bowlers that they have at the moment.
When we started off, the onus was on not only creating a force to reckon with the pace bowling unit with the Indian team, also we needed a very good bench strength. See, because to sustain fast bowling over a long period of time, you need to rotate these bowlers, because I think the workload management, you need to kind of monitor their workloads, because India plays at least 60% more cricket than the rest of the world. Okay, so then the workload management becomes very, very important. So yes, answering your question, we have for the first time, I guess, we have a very good fast bowling quartet, and also the bench strength is very exciting. Khalil looks a very exciting prospect. He's sharp. He's got the skills to do well at international level. So he's a very, very exciting prospect.
All right, talking about the fast bowling quartet, Bharat Arun there, and this is those 5 bowlers that you've got, the 5 fast bowlers India has been keeping in the ODI format. You've got Jasprit Bumrah, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Umesh Yadav, Mohammad Shami and Khalil Ahmed. Interestingly, he calls it a quartet. I'm guessing he's not including Khalil Ahmed because he's just had a couple.
Shami's been rested for these games anyway. So, no, the biggest plus was Khalil in the last game. You know, that would have given him a lot of confidence. Would have been nice if it bowled 10 overs in that game, but those wickets would have given him confidence, because the ball swung to Samuel's, bowl, the one which went away. Okay, the conditions in Mumbai are usually helpful in the evening, at least with the new ball, but that would have given him confidence. So that's a big plus. If you can get him by the time you reach the World Cup confident and bowling well in the one-day format, left arm is always a big plus.
Great addition, Phil. Do you think Khalil Ahmed then gives that variety, as Ajit is also mentioning? Of course, you got the 2 stars there in Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Jasprit Bumrah and Khalil coming in too for Indian team.
This is the way things work, because as going into the match, you're going to be looking at the 2 main bowlers. And in the last match, I think he came of age, because he understood that he had to pitch up a little bit more. He was getting help with the swing and showed his qualities. So I would hope that the 3 wickets would give him that confidence to really push and keep pushing for that place in there, and putting the management under pressure to play 3 seamers rather than 3 spinners sometimes. And as Ajit just said, in England, if he's bowling like he bowled in Mumbai, he's going to be a handful.
Did you notice a change before that game in Mumbai? He wasn't really swinging the ball, more of a hit the deck sort of bowler.
I mean, CC is right next to the sea, so there will. I mean, usually there is some assistance in the evenings under lights in Mumbai. Early part of the innings, of course, West Indies were under pressure at that time. But like Phil says, the swing, you are going to get some swing in England as well. So the length was a big difference, and sometimes it's very difficult on a pitch where there is a little bit of bounce to get that length right, and he got it really. He was good from the first ball that he bowled in that game, and the wickets help. Just to feel part of the unit, part of the team, wickets do help.
Okay, and the way he got Marlon Samuels, that was the highlight of that particular match. But talking about the top order, and he was very, very effective, Khalil, against that Windies top order. And the top 4 really haven't performed for them. And that's one reason why they've been struggling in this series. You've got those numbers there of 4 innings. Powell, Hemraj, Hope and Samuel. Hope the only one who stands out with an average of 83. And then you got Powell and Hemraj, the openers, roughly around the 20 mark, and then Samuel, much was expected out of him. In fact, he's the one who's been most disappointing with an average of just 10. Phil, you would expect Windies to really strengthen that top order considering these performances. They've gone ahead and dropped an opener. Would Ambrose have been an option they could have considered in this game?
Well, that's the thing. As we were talking about with the Indian bench, he's been there. He hasn't played any of the games, and the 3 of the 4 have been struggling. So why not give him a chance? Why not give him a game? Yes, we go back to the fact that you want to tie the series, but at the same time, 8 months from now is World Cup. So is Ambrose going to get a game between now and then? So it could have been an ideal opportunity to give him a chance, especially as the top order is not doing well.
He talks about, will Ambrose get a chance in the World Cup? Will any of them get a chance in the World Cup? You know, I've heard the other guys, the likes of Evan Lewis, the likes of Chris Gayle may just.
I mean, Evan Lewis was part of the squad anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure about what the thing is with Chris Gayle or anyone. I mean, I'm not a big fan of picking and choosing your games to play, or you decide when you want to play the series and when you don't. That's why there are selectors in place. Hopefully they make the right decisions, because these guys have shown they've got the potential. Hopefully they keep developing over the next 8 months and cement their places.
I mentioned the word disappointment when I was talking about Marlian Samuels. Do you think, gone by the past record, he's really not done so much in the past few years to even call it a disappointment? This was expected, would you say then?
I mean, he's done really well in India before or against India. So, and with that one experienced guy, you want him to play better. I don't think he's looked in good form. I don't know what Phil's thoughts are, but clearly maybe this was a defining series for him going forward. Whether he should be part of the squad or not, I think Phil's a better person to answer that question.
Right,
but Phil, he hasn't looked great in the series.
Right, we keep talking about much was expected out of him, but hand to heart, did you really expect much out of Marlian Samuel? He's aging, he's 37, doesn't play cricket that consistently.
Yeah, I think that's the important fact, the last statement you made. To be consistent at international level, you have to be playing constantly. There's no switch on and switch off. And I think that's hampering him a lot, the amount of cricket he's playing now. So you expected him in maybe the last 2 games to come good, because he would have had 3 games, he would have been out there for a while. And maybe in the 2020s he might do well because he's been out there. But so far, and you use the right word, he has been disappointed, because you can be disappointed if you expect a lot from someone. And a lot was expected of him because of his experience, because of his experience and his success in India. So he has been disappointing.
Okay, we're counting down to the 5th ODI, but remember the last time an ODI was played in Thiruvananthapuram was way back in 1988, and guess who was the star at that time? West Indies, of course, won that series 6-1, and the man is with us, Phil Simmons. Phil, do you remember that? You and Greenwich really destroyed the Indian team in that. What are your memories of that one-day match?
My main memory of that one-day match, it's really one of the first few times I've played with Gordon, and the short fine leg, and I kept turning the ball to short fine leg, and next thing he was in my face and I had to run because it's Mr. Greenwich. So I remember that it was truly an occasion, because I enjoyed the batting with Gordon, especially because we made some runs together. But just the whole area, I think that is one of the nicest areas I've been to in India.
Okay, and rumor has it you hit one huge 6 which actually landed up inside the compound of a hotel from the ground, that old university ground. Is that true?
I can't remember that much.
Okay, I was just reading about it. Well, thanks so much for joining us, Phil Simmons, Ajit Agarkar. Maybe the Windies can take some inspiration from that particular match that the West Indies won very, very easily. But that was, of course, 30 years ago, a completely different team. They still have a chance to tie the series. It's 2-1 in India's favour. The final ODI coming up.